Okay, so I'm making this video on request, and I'm happy to do it. What's the difference between Efilism and Extinctionism? So, Efilism is essentially it's kind of like the smallest, tiniest element of Extinctionism, and that's why people think it's similar. Efilism is sort of acknowledging that life is bad. That's kind of it. That's it. It's in the name, right? It's life upside down. It's just an attack on the idea of life. Now, like I said, that is, there is a similarity there. Okay, there's the big parallel. I'll admit, a big similarity. But the thing is that Efilists didn't take it to the next step. Okay, Efilism is about lamenting life. It's about just simply coping. Being depressed, maybe. I'm not saying you have to be depressed to be an Efilist, but you do have to be against taking action about it, or like rational action. So, for example, the person that made Efilism, Gary and Mendham, obviously we were like, wow, potential extinctionist activist, let's talk to him. But he turned out to be extremely irrational. And when we pushed him on his beliefs, he said that extinction would be bad and called us terrorists. So essentially, well, not essentially, but literally, verbatim, he said, like, we shouldn't do activism for extinction. Activism is a bad idea. So it doesn't make sense, right? It's like extinction without the ability to cause extinction or the motivation to cause extinction. And because it is just that tiny little bit of, the very first small step of saying, yes, life is bad, and nothing else, because of that, Efilists haven't explored any of the actual logic, morality, or real philosophy behind extinctionism. For example, there's just so much to it, right, that Efilists do not give a shit about. All they do is just lament and cope. No serious person is calling themselves an Efilist. So, like I said, they don't have any of the logic. All they have is that one tiny bit saying life is bad. And they don't have anything else. So most of them are antinatalist, even though antinatalism is bad for extinction and causes more suffering. Most of them don't care about animals or wild animals. Most of them just care about human extinction, which is discrimination. It's irrational. And most of them, no, all of them are against, like strongly against the idea of activism. I mean, we have a video where we debated Gary and Mendham, and, it shows all of this. Just search on YouTube, Gary and Mendham roast pro-extinction debate. You'll find it. I mean, I also still have an email from him from when I set up that debate. And he said just the stupidest things imaginable, like, don't do activism, I'm against organized activism. It's like, well, how the hell do you expect extinction to happen? So they haven't done any of the thinking, any of the reasoning, any of the, nothing. So that's why they haven't realized that antinatalism is bad. They don't have any, most of them are just want to see the world burn, or they're just mad that they were born. That's as far as it goes. If they actually had empathy, or any sort of brains, then they would say, right, this is wrong. We should make sure this stops happening. They won't do that. They're strongly against doing that. Like, they will tell you, don't do that. Even though by doing that, by saying that, they are supporting it continuing. So Efilists might as well just be depressists. Like, it's a complete miscomparison. We are strongly against Efilism. It's crazy, really. But, like I said in my other video, they've if the average brain is like this, maybe the Efilist brain is slightly more, but I don't know if it really is, because again, it's just about depression. If they were serious or empathetic, or they would actually be organizing to do something about it, to fix the world, but they're just as useless and irrational as anyone else. So we hate the term Efilism, we're against it, it's ugly and gross to us. Extinctionists are organized, they're in an organization, an actual organization, an official, body, and they're working with plans, they're thinking about this all day, every day. How do we make this happen? What's the right way to do it? What's the ethical way to do it? Is antinatalism good for it or bad for it? Unless you're actually thinking how to cause extinction and to stop the terrors and horrors of existence, then you're not going to think about it seriously. You're not going to go through all the logic and reasoning. You're just going to say, life is bad, life is bad. Emendem, he just, does really bad videos. I mean, I watched a few of them and they were just terrible. Really stupid. So, they're against action, they're against actually helping people. Extinctionists have true empathy. We feel the suffering of others. We feel it as urgent as we feel our own suffering. That's why we take action. That's why we can't be passive and inactive like they are. We are smarter than them. It's not an egotistical thing to say, right? They are irrational. If you push them and try to be logical with them and rational with them, then they will employ defense mechanisms and be irrational. I mean, you just have to watch any of our debates on YouTube, or, like I said, watch the Gary Emendem debate. Me and Steve debated him, and he was fucking crazy. And most Efilists are.